Hey guys, so yesterday one of you had asked if I would talk about the Star Spinner Tarot a little bit. I've only just purchased the deck recently, but I have been using her a ton. So I did I kind of sat with it overnight about how I was feeling, and I do feel like I can offer a review of the deck at this point in time. I've done at least 3 or 4 client readings with the deck, and I've been working with it every day myself. And I feel like I'm getting an understanding for the general personality and feel of the deck. So I'm going to do a full review for you guys on the Star Spinner Tarot. As you all know, I don't follow up on all the tea that's going on in the tarot world with new decks. The only thing I did see when I went to purchase this deck on Amazon is that someone had said that it was supposed to be a diverse deck, and yet they felt that it wasn't diverse enough. It didn't really step up to the challenge, or not challenge, that's the wrong word, but didn't really step up to um, the truth that we need to have more inclusivity in our decks that we're working with. So I did notice that, so I don't know if there's been a lot of dialogue about that in the community. I can say that I do think that there is diversity in the deck. I think that there could certainly be more, but I think we can say that about quite a few decks these days. So I will leave you to be the judge of that based on the artwork, if you feel that there is or there isn't, and if that's something that you want to purchase based on that. Let me see. So I ended up finding out about this deck because I had a reading done a while back now by my trusted card reader. We all should and do have those, I feel, in the community. And she used this deck, and I was really drawn into the imagery, and it sat in my Amazon cart for a while I was thinking about it. It isn't typically artwork you would associate with me being drawn to in tarot, and yet it really pulled me in. The colors, the feel, it has a very fairy tale, ethereal feel to it. And it's one that I definitely decided I wanted to add to my collection. I think I might have spent $20 or $21 on the deck. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, I did order it on Amazon, guys. So the deck itself is by Trungles, and he did the cards and the guidebook. Now, it does come with 81 cards. But these aren't additional cards in the deck. These are options for the lovers that he provide in addition. And I'm really sorry, guys, but I did forget to pull that lovers card out. So just give me 1 second and I will grab that. So the options for the lovers are as follows. We have this one, which feels to me can be male and female in energy, or female and female, depending on how you see the beings. I looked at them as 2 women, but now that I'm looking at it a little bit more, maybe you could look at the figure on the right as male. I'm not sure, but this is the one that resonated with me the most. There's a female-female option, which is beautiful. A male-male option, which I also really loved. And then there's this one, which I do feel could be male and female. I like the fluidity in the feel. I do appreciate the options, and I think that that's a really nice thing. And I would say for you, in choosing which lovers card you want to use, I mean, you have options with this, so you can mix it up whenever it feels right for you. And work with the one that intuitively you feel the most drawn to and that feels the most appropriate for you personally. Again, as I said, I resonated more with this one because it's darker in color. I typically go for the darker theme anyhow. And I liked the way that it felt like water but also air at the same time, because it is, of course, the astrological trump of Gemini. I will say this to everyone as well. The Lover's card isn't just about romantic love. It's actually about coming to know the 2 beings within ourselves and uniting those. So the beauty of having the options is that you can decide what feels more in alignment with your current journey at any point in time. And I do think that that's a very nice option, and it's inclusive. I like the fact that the artist didn't add a bunch of other cards to the traditional structure of tarot. I do personally appreciate that. So those additional cards are versions of the Lovers. I just want to clarify that in case you're on the fence about this. This is the tuck box that the deck comes in. It's really lovely. This is the side. So like storage wise, it looks great on the shelf. The inside looks like this. And the back says, let the stars light your way. Enter a world where fairies play, mermaids yearn, and threads of the familiar and fantastic are spun together to guide you on your own personal journey. Featuring beloved comic artist Trungle's enchanting illustrative style, the Star Spinner Tarot reinterprets classic tarot imagery for a more inclusive deck with multiple Lovers cards to reflect a range of romantic expression and illustrations drawn from stories, myths, and fairy tales. I really do feel that this does absolutely hit the spot for story, myth, and fairy tales. It has this ethereal, dreamy feel to it. It really draws you into that space. And it, for me, as someone who reads intuitively, and I don't use set spreads when I read for clients typically. That's a very rare thing at this point for me. I do find that the imagery lends itself really well to telling a story through the cards as they relate to each other laid out in front of me. This is the backing to the cards. It's really, really lovely. And I'm not really a pink or a purple girl, as you guys know, but this deck manages to feel soft and feminine without being like saccharine in nature. And I really appreciate that. It is a very, in my opinion, so far in working with it, a very fluid deck that lends itself well for intuitive work and for, you know, more kind of experiential work for yourself as well. I'm trying to find my Rider-Waite-Smith so I can give you a contrast on the size or a comparison to the size. So here is the Rider-Waite-Smith Pamela Coleman Borderless Edition, and here is the, the Star Spinner Tarot size. So similar in size to traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. And the cardstock isn't matte, but it's not super slippery, which I'm appreciative of. And while it's not like my favorite cardstock ever, it actually shuffles like a dream. What other deck did I say that to you guys about recently? I'm blanking on it now, but I just did a review too where I was like, it feels so good when I shuffle it. It's like, the Uncommon Tarot. It's like delicious when I shuffle it. So, and this deck has that feel. In fact, like you guys, when you do this for work, you understand, like when you read every day, there's something about shuffling that is super satisfying when it feels right. And this deck has that like super satisfying shuffle for me. So it got major props for that. But it's not super slippery, but it's not matte. I'm really obsessed with matte cards, as you guys know. I know it's like a texture preference thing for each and every one of us, but for me, I fall on the matte side of things. But it's okay in this, you know, in this circumstance. It's not so shiny that like I can't see and they're slipping all over the place. So I'm very thankful for that. So I'm going to show you some of the imagery now. If you're new to tarot, the system is very much Rider-Waite-Smith true in my opinion, so you won't have any problem connecting with getting to know the deck. And so far as the Rider-Waite-Smith structure of tarot, there's the Lovers again, guys. The colors, the feel, again, very fairy tale, ethereal, but there's bold color, so it doesn't feel pastel in nature. And it like really pulls you in emotionally as you're looking at the imagery. At least it does for me. Very clear in readings, very talkative deck. This is one that was like right from the get-go. As soon as I pulled her out and cleared her, she was like, oh yeah, no, I'm ready to be in a reading. Let's go. Like it's time. I want to help clarify things for people. I want to help people see things. And I have work to do. Let's do this work together. So very quickly, she wanted to be working with others. She isn't a shy deck, at least not for me. Very lovely voice. I would say like, yeah, neither masculine or feminine. She just like has this voice that's beyond that. I don't know if you guys have heard me over the years talk about Juliette Marillier's books, especially her Daughter of the Forest series. And this deck kind of reminds me of the feel that those books give me when I read them and reread them. So I would say very much so in that form for me. The majors are just a delight to look at as well. So far, I've really been enjoying the suit of chalices or cups in the element of water. I'm not a mermaid girl, but I actually like the artist's depiction of mermaids in this deck. It's not something that I'm like, oh, like it makes me want to barf when I look at it a little bit, which sometimes mermaids can do for me. I'm just not a mermaid girl. But yeah, I enjoy the mermaids featured in this deck in the Chalice's suit. So 9 of coins, 3 of swords. You guys know that those are like the deciding cards for me on a deck for the most part. I love this 9 of coins. I love that it's an owl. You guys know I've been working with owls since the beginning of my journey. You know, despite it being a popular spirit animal recently and then becoming cliche, I've been working with owl for a long time. So seeing that energy in the 9 of Pentacles, the 9 of coins, really warmed my heart. This is a beautiful rendition of the 10 of Cups as well. I enjoyed that one. The kings are animals instead of depicted as physical males, which I really enjoyed. There's rabbit there for that. I'm trying to find, which hopefully I didn't. So there's the King of Swords as another example there. I'm wondering if I already showed you the 3 of Swords. No, here we go. This is the 3 of Swords. I actually really enjoy this depiction of the 3 of Swords. I like the original depiction with the heart and the 3 swords piercing it. I think it's very much like you can't not interpret that as heartbreak and sorrow and loss. It's just like it simply is. And I really, really like the imagery of this being very simple, but the colors really say a lot in this imagery as well. So 3 of Swords approved, 9 of Coins approved. Like, I really enjoy this deck. Look at the Page of Chalices. Isn't that the cutest? I really am enjoying this deck. So I have to say, if you, oh, here we go. The 4 of Chalices. Look at how cute that little mermaid is. She's so sweet. So if you have been on the fence with, you know, do you want to purchase it or not? I really like her personality. She's not overly chatty, but she's not shy. She's very ethereal, very fairy tale-like in nature, but the colors are not so pastel or sicky sweet that, like, it's cloying. Instead, it's got this beautiful range of colors that are, like, in some cases muted but deep. And so it lends itself well to storytelling through your cards. So if you are someone who likes to do that type of work with tarot and you're on the fence about the Star Spinner, I certainly think she's worth the investment. Excuse me. Oh, I did forget to talk about the guidebook. So it comes with a little white book that's, you know, slightly better than a Los Scarabeo little white book. It's 125 pages long. And that's the cover, just like the front. And, you know, you get like the small description for upright and reversals. And he does talk a little bit, the artist does talk a little bit about working with tarot and, you know, why they made the choices that they did. And a brief description of like the elements and working with the suits. And the minors get the same amount of attention as the majors. So I just, you know, so if you are someone, you know, sometimes I feel like the minors get like phoned in and all the attention goes on the majors, which is the structure of, you know, tarot. The majors are the roots, as I like to say. But so I do understand that, but I like when as equal attention is given to the minors, and I do feel that the artist did do this. The guidebook is a nice jumping off point. If you are new to tarot, you will need an intro to tarot book or, you know, whatever you're using to get acquainted with your deck. You're definitely going to want a little bit more than this, but if you're a seasoned reader or, you know, you're getting very comfortable with your cards, you don't you won't need more than this guidebook. And hopefully you're stepping into reading intuitively through that process as well. So this will be a nice jumping off point for you. Not the worst, not the best guidebook I've ever seen. You know what I mean? It's not like a Phantasmagoria level, but it's also much better than a Scarabeo guidebook, a little white book when you're like, what is this sometimes? So I will make one observation that I'm noticing. As I said, I've only had this deck for a couple weeks, and I am noticing scratches as I'm shuffling it immediately. Now, I love wear and tear on a deck. Many of you guys know my original copy of Tarot of Vampires is beautifully worn in. I love a worn in deck. I don't love seeing scratches this early on in the game. So I would just offer that as an observation. It certainly doesn't make me regret purchasing the deck, and I'll adjust to the scratches. But as I'm just looking down, the light's hitting my deck, I'm seeing like, oh wow, a lot of these cards have pretty significant scratches on the back already. So that is something, if that's really going to bother you, I would say be aware that it is going to show wear quickly. And I don't know the technical term, but the coating or whatever isn't holding up well to repeated shuffles. So now I do understand I put a lot more wear and tear on a deck than most people do, but I also have decks that are a decade old and still are in great shape. So, you know, that does speak to the longevity. If you're, hold on a second, guys. Excuse me. Allergies. If you are really partial to this deck, I would purchase a backup copy, because that type of wear like this early on lets us know that it's probably not going to wear as well as some other decks through extended use. So I just want to share that observation. As far as intentionality of the deck and personality of the deck, I highly recommend this one. And like I said, it's very ethereal in nature. It's very dreamy. So it's a deck that you might want to use for that type of experiential shamanic work on your spiritual path, for journeying. And that type of energy that you want to bring in. And also, like I said, for storytelling through a spread. It lends itself very well to that. So those are some observations on my part from the deck. I love the deck. I'm really glad I purchased it. No regrets at all. And I'm really thankful it's a part of my collection, and I have no plans on not working with her in the future. So yeah, it definitely gets my approval rating, and I really, really enjoy it. So yeah, so those are my thoughts, guys, on the Star Spinner Tarot by Trungles. Really beautiful deck and lovely to work with. Hope you are all doing well, and I will see you in the next video. Much love, many blessings, guys. Bye.